Well, by my estimation, there are two kinds of audio equipment out there. Equipment that you want, and then there's equipment that you just might need. And if you're like me, you might find a use for this, the Arylic BP50 Preamplifier. Hi, I'm Bob, and you are in the United States of Analog, and I'm in the United States of Analog, and I'm honored to be with you because even though this is a young channel, we're enthusiastic, all right? We're an up-and-comer. We're gonna get there. With your help, we're gonna get there. And it's just so gratifying to get messages and comments from places like Greece and Ireland and UK. I love you, UK. I used to live there. Yeah, I did. I grew up there. My misspent youth in England, Lakenheath, England, and Germany and Australia and all these places where it's like this is an international kind of community, this audio community where we can all get along and we all have a commonality, and I love it, and I love being here, and I love you guys, so thank you so much, and do whatever you can to support the channel because we've got big news on the horizon in 2024. I can't tell you about it now. I'm sworn to secrecy, but we're going to blow this thing up. We're going to blow it up. I don't know if I'm going to be Mr. Beast big. Well, Mr. Beast doesn't get into audio, but I'm not going to be Mr. Beast big. But someday, when I got a lot of subscribers, you're going to tell your friends you've been listening and watching me for years, all right? I promise you that. I promise you that, all right? But enough about me. This is not about me, okay? This is about the Arylic BP50 preamplifier. Oh, Bob, I know what you're saying. Oh, Bob, you're doing Funf again. Well, thanks for calling it Funf. That's the nickname I've given to the equipment that is inexpensive, smaller in stature, that comes from a land far, far away. I think it's that direction. And I think it has its place in our community. Speaking of community, I think it has its place, all right, because it's affordable, it's smallish, it can fit into places that we can't get some of those bigger components. Maybe we don't have the budget yet in our audio journey to get something super expensive. That's fine. That's the beauty of these Funf products. You get a lot of value. For the most part, the stuff I've reviewed so far, pretty decent for the price. In some cases, beyond decent. You know, what do you really have to risk at the end of the day when you're spending $100, $150 on a component? Even if down the road, 6 months, a year down the road, you tire of it or you don't need it any longer because you've moved up. Give it to one of your kids to take to college. Give it to a coworker to try to entice them into getting into this expensive and inconvenient hobby we call audio. There's all kinds of things you can do, you know, with this equipment. You can put it on the back porch to, you know, to listen to music outside. Listen, you do you, okay? I'm just saying it has its place. Let's get into Funf. Let's get into the Arylic BP50 because there's a lot going on in this little box for $100. I mean, it's solid aluminum case. It's handsome. Now let's take a closer look. It's got an on-off toggle switch there, BP50, identified on the front. It's got these little hex bolts or something in there. It's a handsome little device, rounded edges. The Arylic logo front and center. Also a volume control with clicks, a knurled knob. It's got pretty good knob feel. You use the volume control to adjust the volume, obviously, and you also depress it to select the various modes. And there's a lot of modes because when you look on the back, you've got two antennae. I believe one is to receive and one is to transmit, if I'm not mistaken. That's just a guess. Otherwise, they would be redundant. But a DC input, there's a power pack that comes supplied with it. There's a phono ground. There's left and right line out, optical out, coax out. Then next, as you go left to right looking at the back, is the phono in, which it's odd that it's kind of separated from the ground by a couple of inches. But when you're dealing with this kind of real estate or whatever, this small amount of real estate on the back panel, you know, you do what you have to do. And next to phono in is line in. You got an optical in, subwoofer out, which at this price point, you don't get a lot of gear with subwoofer out. You've got an ARC, you've got ARC for your television. You've got USB, which I used to power my WIIM mini streamer, which I connected to this via optical in. And I've got a funny story about that. Well, funny to me anyway, that I'll tell you at the end of this, this look at the BP50, right after the final animation there. I'll tell you about a misspent hour a couple nights ago. And there's also USB-C DAC. There's a reset button as well. So inside this puppy, you've got an ESS ES9023P DAC, which delivers 192 24-bit. And that's exactly what I got through the WIIM mini streamer. I know because I set the parameters within the WIIM and it worked. So I know I'm getting 192 24. I don't get too concerned at a $100 price point about what DAC's inside. It functions. It works. It's good. Are there better DACs? Of course there are. I'm not a dummy. You're not a dummy. You know there are better DACs out there. But this one is, it's good. Okay? Look at all the stuff that you're getting. They're not going to put a, you know, a $50, $60 DAC in there. Right? This is a $100 unit. Bluetooth 5.2, aptX HD, aptX LL, aptX Adaptive, AAC, SBC, Elemento. You've got transmit and receive capabilities here, and I did that. For the first time ever in my home, I actually listened to my Apple TV with the Bluetooth headphones, thanks to the Arylic BP50, which is pretty cool. They didn't have to give you that, but they did at $100. You can transmit to two. You and your lover can both listen on Bluetooth headphones at the same time, simultaneously. You don't have to do like they do in the rom-coms where, you know, you're on a train and one of the lovers puts the left pod in their ear and then the other one grabs the right pod and puts it in their ear and then they turn and then you know where all that leads. There's also a lot of Qualcomm technology in here. And I think that's what's kind of cool about some of this new Funf gear is that they're being a lot more proactive in their marketing and letting you know what's inside. I think there's, I could be wrong, maybe they're fooling me, but I think there's a lot more transparency in what the components are that they're putting in here and they're name brands that you recognize. Again, at $100, I'm not gonna get too concerned. I just wanna know that it works. This solved a problem for me. When this first came out, I didn't really think twice about it. You know why? Because I didn't have a need for it. You got to have a need on some level. Now, I know it seems like all the reviewers are on YouTube talking about equipment and everybody else is buying gear, you know, left and right, and buying it all up and getting new speakers every 6 months and new amplifier. But that's not the case, right? People watch these reviews for entertainment. And you know, if you're like me, okay, you probably hang on to your gear for 5 years, 10 years. You know, I've got a turntable I've had for 30. I kept a Marantz receiver for, you know, the last 12, 13 years. I don't have the kind of deep wallet, deep pocketbook or whatever. I don't have a pocketbook, I have a wallet. You know, to buy all the stuff that I see. I would love to. I would love to buy everything that A-Rob shows me. I would love to have a 100-inch TV, you know, but that's not reality. What is reality, though, is that sometimes we have a need for a piece of gear. And I did, because upstairs in my family room, I put old SONY TV. It's like a 75-inch TV, all right? And I wanted to have sound in there. I have some bookshelf speakers and some other speakers that I wasn't purposing anywhere else. So I had those. I don't like sound bars. I despise sound bars. And full disclosure, they hate me at Best Buy because I returned like 5 sound bars in a 2-month period a couple years ago because they don't deliver on their promise unless you get into some kind of, you know, $3,000, $4,000 sound bar, in which case, why do you even have a sound bar? Why would you just have a good system under your TV? Listen, fight me. Soundbar manufacturers, send me soundbars. I'll review them. Maybe you can change my mind. Change my mind. I need gear to review anyway. And that goes out to all you manufacturers out there. Please send me stuff. Send me stuff, all right? I'm out of my own personal equipment to review. All right, put this down. Okay. But yeah, so what I did in that family room TV situation was move that old Marantz, that 13-year-old Marantz AVR, heavy, big, overkill for what I needed. I wasn't doing multi-channel sound in there, maybe connecting a subwoofer, and that's it. And I was having trouble reaching around, every time I had to make a connection or switch components, it was a drag. I had to lift it out, you know, get a flashlight. It was a drag, as I wanted something small. Then I remembered this BP50, right? It's got ARC, it's got USB, it's got phono. I don't have a phono. I don't have a turntable up there, but if I ever decide to put one up there, and all the analog and digital connections, I go, this is perfect. It doesn't have an amp inside. It doesn't have streaming. I just connected the WIIM Mini, and then I connected this to my FOSI V3 amplifier, that great power amplifier, digital class D, class D. And apologies to Arylic. I know you probably make an amp that stacks on top of this. I don't have that, so I connected the V3, but definitely seek that out. And I connected it all up very easily. This is super easy to connect, and there's a Go Control app that you can put on your phone to do all the equalization. There's some presets in there. Flat sounds best to me. I tried rock, I tried jazz, but flat sounds best, and I made little tweaks in the little equalizer they have in there. So I think, again, we're talking $100. I think you can find the sound that you want inside the app, inside this piece of gear. And everything connected, it was very smooth. And in fact, you know, downstairs here in the main living room out here, I have Klipsch Fives connected to a Sony TV down here. I love the Klipsch Fives. I'm not going to throw shade, but I don't know if it's the Klipsch fault or Sony's fault or the cable or whatever, but they do not play well together. They disconnect all the time. The Sony disconnects, the Klipsch disconnects from the Sony. I don't know what's going on there. I'm going to go out and try to maybe get a new 8K cable or something like that, a high-speed cable, and see if that helps. But I didn't want to go with the Klipsch Fives upstairs again. I wanted to have some, like a component system. This worked out great. This worked out fantastic. It sounds goodish. It sounds good. It's $100. I keep harping on that because I think sometimes, you know, I talk about expectations. Sometimes our expectations are too high for a piece of gear. Okay, this is $100. That's, you know, like 10 McDonald's breakfasts with coffee. But it sounds good. I had fun streaming from the WIIM Mini Streamer. I had fun listening to TV on my Bluetooth headphones. And you know, another great thing about this, thanks to the ARC. When I turn on my Apple TV, the TV turns on, the BP50 turns on. When I turn the Apple TV off, this goes into standby mode, the TV goes off, and it works great. I honestly, at this price point, did not expect all those things to work as advertised. I eventually connected this. I tried many speakers, but right now I have some Ailc 6.2s. that I'm using. I think that's the right scale for this equipment and for that room on stands. And I've got a small, what is it, a Jammo 8-inch sub, okay? Not the greatest sub in the world. It's another $100 piece of equipment. But you know what? I'm not gonna go up there to analyze the equipment to a T. I'm just gonna sit down and enjoy Squid Game, the challenge, or something like that. This is not a reference room. It's just a TV room. I just want things to work. I want things to connect, turn on, turn off. Play music. And the music sounds good. I was streaming some Steely Dan. Sounded punchy. Sounded good. Sounded lively. Okay, I might have added a little treble. But again, you're getting an app. You're getting phono input. You're getting analog. You're getting digital. You're getting ARC. You're getting USB. You're getting all kinds of Bluetooth connectivity and transmitting and receiving and 2 headphones. And man, I don't know how you can go wrong for $100. I don't know what you can complain about, okay? So get yourself some Funf. Get yourself the BP50 preamplifier from Arylic. And if there's a stackable amplifier, try that too. Or use whatever amplifier you have in house. Have some fun. You're not risking anything. It's $100, okay? And when you're done with it, send it off to college with one of your kids, all right? You've been in the United States of analog. Stick around. I got a story for you. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Bob, you're on the radio, I heard. You're on YouTube. Everything is going your way. You don't have any problems. Well, the other night I did have a problem for about an hour and a half when I couldn't get, at least I thought I couldn't get, the optical in to work on the BP50. Now let me say off the bat that it's not the BP50's problem. It was my problem. I didn't RTFM. I didn't realize at the time I was hooking up this piece of kit that it had optical in and optical out. And so for an hour, I was putting the optical cable in the optical out connection here, and nothing was coming out of my speakers, as you can imagine. And I was getting frustrated until I took everything apart, read the manual, and realized that I had been making the wrong connection. That is a cautionary tale. My tip for you, my audio tip is, make as many connections as you can in the light, in front of your face, before you slide the equipment into your cabinet. You'll thank me later. And a lot of the if your cables are long enough, a lot of those cables you can connect before. Once you start reaching around and feeling around and getting out mirrors and things like that, you're in a world of hurt. So I would have saved myself an hour if I had RTFM'd and if I had made those connections ahead of time. We'll see you next time.